in the sense that they will pass slower in order to make sure that it's safe. I do like this principle though, because when you get in a game, they do have to learn how to compensate even if something doesn't go right. So it's a good mental skill to teach them how to do this. I do want to point out in this, all of these say catches. Catches, catch, catch, and catch. I didn't even mention passing in this. You could do with perfection, you could do the opposite until every single pass is to the player. It doesn't count. Does that make sense? So that then you're really emphasizing that the pass needs to be perfect and not the catch needs to be perfect. Again, that catching versus passing idea can't be overlooked. Okay, here's an example practice plan from my team. This is actually a fairly advanced skill I personally did. It's called drop step. A time and place that you would use it in a game would be when you get double teams. So it could be your goalie saved the ball and she got to your defender, and your defender's trying to work her way up the field, and she gets double teamed by 2 players. The drop step is what is she going to do to find space to make a pass. This could also be on attack. Your player, more likely on attack. Your player is driving in to the 8, she gets double teamed, she doesn't have a lane, how is she going to get out of the 8 in order to find the pass without losing the ball? So, the couple of videos I'm going to show you, I do a variation first. We go from no equipment to sticks and balls. Then we do another variation where we go from the number of players that are in the drill. Then I add a pressure, which is defense. Then I add a second pressure, which is space. And then the variation, which is the location, because we do it off of the 8 and then onto the 8. And I will come back to all of these as we watch. I have videos. Let me give a disclaimer. I think my girls were really nervous when I was doing this. I'm not going to say that they've got this skill perfectly, but they look timid, I guess is my point. So, you know, bear with them while I show you this, hopefully. Okay. So this is drop step. The thing that I was really emphasizing to my players is footwork. You might notice they're all stepping on the 25 right here with their right foot. Nope, their left foot, and then turning the same direction. And I really wanted them to learn this skill because they get stuck in double teams a lot. So we'll do it one more time. Oh, didn't do that. Right here, they're all stepping with the same foot and turning the same direction. So there's the first just basic drill. The variation on this next one is equipment. So this is the footwork drill with equipment. They have their sticks, they're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to step on the line, but now they have their sticks, they're learning how to switch hands. You can teach a lot of skills, specifically within this broad skill. The other thing I'm teaching them is keep their eyes up. If you notice, they all are looking to the sideline as soon as the ball, or as soon as they have turned around. The other thing that I would add to this, that if we were actually in practice, is they don't explode out of their movement, which is really important in a double team. They're kind of just walking back, and they should be exploding out of it. So you can do a couple of different things. This is a shuttle. So this is another variation in its number of players. So now we've added a pass, and just the number of players that are actually in the drill. This is a shuttle you could do before practice, or at the beginning of practice if you wanted to. Now they're working on still stepping with that left foot, switching hands, and getting a pass off. Still no defense, still no pressure necessarily, but now just working on a skill of fluidity. Is that a word? Fluidity? Being fluid? So that's what that looks like. Are there any questions so far? So those are just variations, that's it. And this would already probably be, if you had a 2-hour practice, I probably wouldn't spend longer than 5 to 10 minutes on a variation because they'll get bored. So this is maybe like 15-ish minutes into practice, is just working on this part of the skill. I think, especially when I first started learning this concept, I felt very overwhelmed with how am I going to have time to go from footwork to sticks to defense, to on the 8, to game speed. It's actually really fast, or should be. Otherwise your players will get bored.
Do you have any good cues for just creating space? I mean, that could be on a double team, but also could be on a cut. You know,
Yeah.
It could be on. I think that's another one our kids at least have a hard time with.
Yeah.
What do you mean by creating space? How do I do it?
Totally. So the cue that I like to use, and this is a joke on our team because I say it so often, is change your speed and change your direction. Because if you are running at a consistent speed, I'll repeat it one more time. Even if I'm changing direction, your defense, I'm offense. Even if I'm changing direction, if I'm running at a consistent speed, how easy is it for her to keep up with me, right? And then, even if I'm changing speed, but I'm running in the same direction, so I start from here, and I go to here, and then I stop, and then I come to here, and I stop, it's pretty easy for her to keep up with me. But if I start from a 0 and go to 100 in this direction, and then this direction, and then this direction, it's a little bit easier, or it's a little bit harder for her to keep up. So that's we call it CSCD, change your speed, change your direction, which I think is the most athletic skill any kid can learn anywhere. Change your speed, change your direction. Okay, so as we start looking at this one, I want you guys to notice where my girl's form starts to suffer a little bit. Now, I'm adding a pressure principle, which is defense. These players down here are going to go through these ladders, and then they're going to double team this player. She's going to do her drop step and find a pass. I want you to notice how many of my girls start to pivot with the wrong foot and don't switch hands or just kind of try and find space. It's really interesting to see. And again, I would like them to explode out of that. Another disclaimer, we only had so much space with the camera that we could keep everything in view. I would do this on a bigger space if I didn't have a camera right on the side. Notice also none of them go to the pass to their left, even though she's an option. They all go to the right. If I was in the point of my season where I needed to be a stickler about this, I would do this drill until all of them could do it correctly with the right footwork, because we had just spent 20 minutes learning the footwork and it's already suffering. Sometimes that's not a luxury, especially on young teams. As long as they understand the principle and the idea, I think you can move on.
Do you have a back of the envelope on that of here's how often I'm actually going to stop practice, put a coaching moment in here? I think we've seen both. Some coaches that stop it all the time, the kids are never playing, and some coaches are never saying anything.
Right.
How do you think about it?
I usually warn my girls before practice if it's going to be a stop a lot day. And I'll tell them, listen, we're learning a new skill. I'm going to stop us a lot. My feedback to her applies to everybody. Because we're learning a new skill, and then after we've done it once, if we revisited this skill in practice, I would pull them out one by one and say, hey, I don't think you're understanding this concept of pivoting on this foot. Let's practice it a few times. Does that make sense? First time we do it, I stop the whole team and say, she did it this way. This is what we recognize that everybody needs to do it this way. Good question. I do have the luxury though, I have 4 coaches on my staff, so we can really divide and conquer and cover everybody without having to stop a lot. I wouldn't be afraid to stop, especially when you're first learning a skill. They need reps, of course, but if they're doing it wrong, don't let them keep doing it wrong over and over, because practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So if they're doing it wrong, don't be afraid to stop everybody and say, here's what we're doing. This is another pressure principle. We've changed the space in this drill. So we're still working on the same thing. Now I've changed the space. We're working on a double team from the side and getting their pass off. We don't have to spend too long on this one because I think you guys hopefully understand the idea of my drop step now. Just from watching, see, she did it wrong. She didn't pivot with her shoulder protecting her stick. We'll watch one more. And I would let my defense go on this. If you have a higher level team, I would, my girls are following them. I would let them check, let them ring out on this. But if you're learning the skill for the first time, you can definitely play your defense too. Put pressure without playing 100%. My defense hates that. What is 50%? Well, you guys do that all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. This is a variation. We're just changing location on the field. They're not going to goal. I would change in this if this was actually a practice that they do go to goal. Oh goodness, that keeps scaring me. So they're just passing across. We're just changing location. Notice their form really suffers. This is where they really got timid because it's getting even more game-like. Their form suffers, they're not even pivoting, they're not using their outside hands anymore. She's using her right hand, she's using her left, you know, all sorts of things. So again, if this was the first time we had done this skill, I would stop and we would correct it. If it was the second time, and sometimes you get to crunch time where you just can't really, you don't have time anymore. Like games are coming, you don't have time to do it 5 times.
And how do you key that? I mean, with, you'll see you have 4, we don't have 4. But if you want to grab a kid, again, you know, we have a little bit younger kids, and you grab them, they're kind of like, oh, what did I do? You know, what did I do wrong here? Everybody's looking at me.
Yeah.
Do you have things that you just see work at younger age groups, so you can make those coaching moments, but the kids don't, you know, go, oh, I'm getting in trouble because you're coaching me here, or you're telling me I did something else?
Yeah, totally. I think, this is actually a really fine point I've been trying to figure out with my girls, because we're high level and they want feedback, but they want it their way.
Yeah.
That I've noticed that if you pull a player aside from a group and work on it as a one-on-one, let me see you do it again, and let's try it one more time, just me and you, that they respond a lot better than saying, like, do it again in front of the whole group. I've also found that the one-on-one of like saying their name and attaching something that they did well. So my girls, they make fun of me for this, because whenever something doesn't work out, I say, it was a good idea. Trying to validate the fact that they're working hard and that they're doing the right thing without executing the skill correctly. So with my girls not doing the correct footwork, let's say, but she was using her outside hand, I'd say, hey, you used your outside hand, which was awesome, but then you didn't pivot on the right foot. So come over here and let's use this hand one more time, and then show me which foot you should pivot on, and she can show me the foot, and then I can send it back. Does that make sense? That's what I found. That's a good idea too often though. Now my girls know that it's me like, hitting them, you know, hey, it's a good idea, it didn't work, so don't do it again. So don't use the same phrase. Come up with something different, but I think if you can validate something that they did well, then they're receptive to it. A lot of research I think says, especially for younger girls, like 5 compliments to every 1 criticism. Which I appreciate the idea, because I definitely thrived off of positive affirmation as opposed to like criticism of what was going wrong. I do think that then your criticism gets lost though. If you say your outside hand is great and your pivot was awesome and your attack was fantastic, blah blah, but then they're like, wait, so which one was it though? So I think a 1-to-1 has worked pretty well for me. I
think the 5-to-1 though is over time, right?
Correct.
Is hey, I liked how you did that, and let's move on. And I liked how you did that, and let's move on. And then in the moment when there's correction to be given, I've built up the bank of positives.
Correct.
And so
you still give the 1 criticism.
correct.
I do like carrying the 1 criticism with 1
Right.
positive, even in the moment. If I've given her 4 compliments, you know, if we were to put it on a very strict time frame, then I still would like to give that 1 compliment to the 1 criticism as soon as I pull it out. Does that make sense? My new one that my girls are starting to catch on to is $1 million move, 10-cent finish. And they hate that because they're like, I did it wrong, huh? Okay, this would be a drill. How to progress a drill. So a drill that we do a lot is star drill. This is a very popular drill in lacrosse. We're going to start with just a normal star drill, probably what a lot of us have seen. I'm going to add a variation, which is the amount of equipment. I'm going to add 2 balls to the start. Then a pressure, which would be timed as many passes as possible in 30 seconds with 1 ball. And then a second pressure, which is defense, so as many passes as possible in 30 seconds with 1 ball. I remember doing star drill for 4 years when I was in high school and doing it the same every single day. This first variation all the time. And you can learn so much more, I think, from the drill by doing all sorts of variations, and depending on your girl's skill level, it doesn't even have to be with 2 balls. It could be with no sticks and then using sticks. It could be really, really big and then really small. It could be, you can think of all sorts of things. We'll go through these videos fast because, oh, no, not too. It's just what a normal star drill looks like. A 5-point, they just pass it to their left or to their left. Excuse me, to their left or to their right. This would be star drill with 2 balls. You do sacrifice speed for this sort of a drill, which is something that you could, decide as a coach what you wanted. My girls are going a lot slower They're definitely being more careful. I do think my parents hated this when I did this with the high school teams. They were afraid someone was going to get hit. I love it because I think it teaches vigilance across the field, and if you have girls that are old enough to understand that concept of watching everybody, this is a great one. If they're not quite sure yet, let alone how to catch them and pass the ball, let alone how to find other players, I recommend maybe not doing it. But it is a fun one. It's a really fun one. Sometimes we've done like 4 balls. And then this is with defense. Did we already do 1 ball, 2 balls? Star drill with defense. So I just put a player in the middle, and now they're just working on a defender. Oh, the middle one was pressure, so they do it for time. I didn't film that one because I figured it was self-explanatory. This is with the defender. This is one of my favorite drills because star drill is pretty simple without a defender, and then suddenly you add a defender and you'll find how many girls like panic. Like, what do I do? She's standing right in front of me. And we're not even on a field. There's no goal, there's no score. It's just how do you get around your defender. If you have a big enough team and a big enough coaching staff, we do this in 2 stars, and they compete against each other. So I'll send 1 player from star A to star B, and she's defender, and 1 player from star B to star A, and she's defender, and they'll compete against each other to see how many knockdowns they can get. Is a fun variation to do. Okay, so I want us to practice it just for a quick minute as a group. If you were to have a practice plan or you wanted to do ground balls, let's talk first of all what you could strip it down to, like the basics. And this could go any direction, so let's just have 1 or 2 ideas and then we'll build off of that because you can take it anywhere. If you're doing ground balls for practice, and your girls have never done it before.
All the way to just a ball down, no stick, foot next to the ball,
Love it.
run through.
Yep. I did that with my girls this year. They thought I was being silly. I was like, no, I'm serious. Like, no sticks. I want you to learn how to put your foot next to the ball so that you're not reaching like this, right? Okay, so that would be the basic drill that we would do. How can we add 1 variation? That would be, variations are equipment, space, or equipment, location, number of people. Thoughts? What variation would you add? Could you add?
Stick.
You're sick. Perfect. Second variation?
Number of players just increase.
Yeah, so maybe instead of them just doing it as a one person where they throw their own ball out and they work on stepping next to the ball and picking it up, maybe do it in a shuttle where you have 2 lines, just like line drills. They roll the ball across to each other, she picks it up, she rolls it to the next player, going back and forth. Okay, and then pressure. How could you add the pressure? If you decide to do line drills where they're just passing across, you have a line of players here, and a line of players here, and she literally rolls the ground ball here, she picks it up, she rolls it here, she picks it up, she rolls it here, she picks it up. How could you add a pressure principle to that? Pressure is time, space, defense. You could add a defender to this. Again, I did this with my girls and I thought I was being silly. I was like, no, I want someone to play defense right here in the middle so that you actually have to pass around her, right? Even a ground ball. Okay, and then 1 more pressure. This would be a change. You would go from defense, and then you'd probably take out defense and change your pressure. I wouldn't add defense and time. That's hard for even an NCAA team, you know? So take out the defense and 1 other pressure. How many times can they rotate through the line in 30 seconds? Perfect. Yeah. Okay, a drill. If you're working on one-on-ones. The very basic that you could start with. What do you think? What are some ideas? Middle 6, body positioning. Okay. On the 8, off the 8, off the 8. Okay. So one-on-one, no sticks. You could set up a line of cones going down the middle like this. And there's a defender on every single set of cones, and the offender has to challenge the defender with no sticks, and the defense just has to work on making contact. Then she goes to the next defender, makes contact, goes to the next defender, makes contact, no sticks. What's the variation? That'd be basic. What's the variation?
Add stick.
Add sticks. Yep, you can even add a ball for the ball carrier. A second variation. Could be location, could be number of people, could be, let's see, if that's what what you had started with. The next thing that maybe would be beneficial after adding sticks would be
Pick up a ground ball and then go.
adding a second skill. Yeah, like they have to pick up a ground ball